Actually, that's not quite correct.
Oh, I thought we said quarter past.
We got a message saying that it'd be brought forward to 2. So 10 minutes late.
No, that's your fault.
Andy stitched you right up.
No, I've just been sitting with him.
Oh, right.
So he could have just said, "No, we need to go." Come on, I know. I'm not jumping on this grenade. Jumped on enough this season. More to come.
Sorry for stitching you up, Andy.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview our game against Brentford. We'll start off with Vinny at Sky.
Sean, just to start with, how do you look back at last night now?
Well, obviously, very pleased for so many reasons. Firstly, the literal performance, which I thought was very good. The tactical side of the game, which is always the wonder as a manager and coaches. Have we got it right? But can they deliver it? And they did. And it was right on the night. A lot of respect for Liverpool, what they're trying to achieve again, the manager and all what they've done. But I thought it was a good performance that deserved a win. And then when you add in the feel in the stadium, which I thought was terrific at Forest as well, I said, last night, I thank the fans for that, because obviously the ugly performance, the ugly outcome, we all took a bit of heat on that, held our hands up, but they stayed connected to the team. I thought that was on show against Forest, and it was certainly on show again last night. So I think it's a win on all levels, not just the fact that we got another really important 3 points.
What's the key to replicating that more and more and more?
Well, the thing I've been harping on about the many things I repeat is the consistency. How can you find that? The consistency, the physical consistency against the demands of the game, of course, the game schedule and injuries and all that. The squad consistency, so when players do have to come in and out the side, can they deliver, can they replicate? And of course, there's also the flexibility, because games do offer different challenges, different problems. So, having the flexibility as a team to not only do what you've got to do, but try and work on the opposition and how you can open up different ways of operating to win games. So, it seems it's easy to say consistency, but there's a lot more detail in amongst that.
Yeah, why don't we talk about consistency at the same time? Without that 8-point deduction, you'd be safe, but safety is still in your own hands now. What does that say about the job that's been done this season?
Well, it certainly says we're sticking to task. Whatever comes at us, I think the players, I'm certainly proud of that, because we've had some ups and downs ourselves. I think the challenge has been from outside with the points. I don't think that's helpful, and I think everyone agrees that. So sticking to task so far. There's more to come. I said to the players immediately after last night, they've got to enjoy that, because it means a lot to the fans. It means a lot, in this locality, and to me, of course, by the way. But, it has to be parked, because the next one comes around. It's another important game and another chance, another opportunity to play at Goodison and get 3 points. So, there's a lot on the next game. But they do have to have a window to enjoy that last night.
At the same time, when you ended a run there at Goodison Park that stretches back to 2010, what steps have you taken there with that victory to kind of change the narrative around the football club?
Well, like I said, I think Sunday was as important in a different way, because, we'd won and kept a clean sheet against Burnley. So you think, okay, we changed it. Then we get another 2 points taken. So everyone feels like, here we go again. And then unfortunately followed that with a really poor performance. And then it was, how can you react from that? Myself, the staff and the team, but also the fans. And, and I think that's a really important factor. I asked them to just stay connected, and they have done. And I think Sunday was a really important factor with that, because you could feel it straight away in the stadium. The energy of the crowd. The staff go over the warm-up, I don't, but they were saying even the warm-up, you could sense the early arrivals. There was like a real positive buzz about it. Then we won that one, and then it goes into the derby, which is slightly different, of course. They should be up for that one for obvious reasons, but they were, and they're in great voice. So, that connectivity I've been asking for or hoping for, because you can't guarantee it, between ourselves and the fans here. It's so powerful. And we've had spells when it's been right there, and then we've had spells when it hasn't. And we're just beginning to earn it back again, I think, and the fans are certainly playing their part.
The next challenge, I suppose, is to ensure that there's no hangover after what was a big occasion at Goodison Park.
Yeah, but that's the challenge. That's why I nipped it in the bud last night and said, of course, enjoy it, enjoy the moment, but let's go and do it again. You know, we've got to go and perform again. A decent outfit in Brentford. They had a funny spell themselves and come out of that. Thomas is a fellow I like as well. I know him. I spent a bit of time with him. I like what he does. I like how he talks. I like him as a person as well. I know a little bit about their club with Matt Benham and people like that. You know, they're a good outfit. So it's not an easy. It's no gimmies in this league. So I said to the players immediately, look, or not immediately, praise them first, and I said, right, you know, tomorrow we come in and we get on with business.
Does that mean that there's no feeling of safety already?
No, there certainly shouldn't be. I'm not feeling that way. We've taken some big steps, but there's more to come, you know, and you know, we can control the situation ourselves, and that's what we've always been aiming to do, even with the points taken away and all that sort of stuff. You know, grip hold of it and let's run with it. And I think we're beginning to show that again. 3 wins out of 4 now, 3 home wins, 3 clean sheets. They're good signs.
You feel that this game, though, could make you safe, and how important could that be ahead of an away trip to Luton?
But the mathematical things you always work on, so I'm not really bothered about the conjecture of it. Of course, it would be another big push in the right direction if you could beat Brentford.
Squad-wise, any issues after the Merseyside derby as well? Just thinking
Mykolenko's unlikely. We'll see how that settles. He needs a scan on that to know the truth of it, but it's not great early signs, so we'll see how quickly that settles. The others, no, most people have come through. Oh, Shea won't be ready, I don't think. He's getting closer, but it'd be touch and go for him.
Dominic Calvert Lewin, okay. It felt like he's trusting his body more.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent. He's had a bit of illness, so we're hopeful that pass. He had it before the game, so I must commend him on that because I thought he was outstanding. His physical performance was outstanding, and he's still not quite over it. So we'll hope that settles down over the next day or two.
Thanks, Finney. We'll go to Fraser.
Just moving on from that. From Dominic, great performance last night. He's proving just how valuable he is, as we all know, when he's fully fit, fully hungry, fully ready to go. And it would have been nice maybe to see some more of that from him this season if it hadn't been for some of the injuries.
Yeah, I mean, this season he hasn't been too bad on the injury front, but it just goes to show you when you've had an indifferent kind of couple of years of injuries, it does take time, you know, to clear your mind of it, clear your body of it, and to have that total freedom. And that's what we planned, me and him, when we shared it, about the idea of getting him to a point when he can just play freely. And he's had moments when he has done. And I thought last night, he was outstanding. I said to him afterwards, you know, that's the kind of form and that's the kind of performance that gets you back around that England thinking. It's too early yet. I'm not making big, bold statements or anything like that. I know Gareth will have players that he thinks are relevant to his group. But certainly with that kind of feeling to his performance and, of course, scoring, then he should be recognised where he is as a top centre forward, in my opinion.
Is it going to be a case of, in the future, keeping a really close eye on how he is, though, to manage that physical...
We've been doing that. We've been doing that all season. So, you know, I think the medical staff and the science staff and feeding back into the coaches, we've been trying to monitor that. We took a risk not playing him down at Chelsea when he might have been able to do it. But, you know, that risk or reward scenario, we took a little bit of risk with Ghana playing last night. He's had a bit of a tight calf, but he come through it, so we're pleased with that and played very well. You know, these are they're fine lines at times, you know, especially when we're carrying a pretty thin squad in numbers.
Thanks, Fraser. We'll go to Julia.
Hiya.
Last night's performance then, is that showing more the type of performances you're trying to build a Sean Dyche Everton side?
I think it's showing a performance, not. I mean, they have to have. I think they have to have the passion, belief, and commitment. That's the teams I like to show. But there has to be flexibility. You know, who are you playing? You know, Liverpool are a very strong side, a very good side, and they can hurt you in different ways. So we have to operate against that, but still play our game. Against other teams, you might feel you can play more expensive, more open. My way of thinking about football has always been to win, you know, so I try and look at how we can win, rather than worrying about this, that and the other and all the modern, you know, brands and all that sort of stuff. I've always thought the best one you can have is to win. And then how do we work upon that? And if we can do it with glory and amazing football, then we'd try and do that. If we need to fight, we need to defend and be tactical like we did last night and find a different way of operating, then we've got to do that. That's what I think football should be. That's what I think it is as a coach and a manager. So that's what we look to do.
Just gone again, his performances since he's been back in the side have come in for quite a lot of praise recently, and I know he got a goal against Forest and he performed well again last night. What does he bring to the side? And he is out of contract this summer. I appreciate the situation at the club, you probably don't know, but is he a player you would like to keep?
He's a player I've got a lot of respect for. I've made that clear since I got here, and if you look down the period I've been here, he's played in most sides, maybe with took a bit of a gamble or maybe rested him if he's had a slight injury. But he's experienced, he's very experienced. He's experienced here as well at playing at Goodison. He understands it, he understands football, and he's a good player. And I think coming back into the side, he's been very effective.
How different a challenge are Brentford then for this weekend? They're good on the counter and set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've got a lot of respect for Thomas. We shared a bit of time together, and speaking about the idea, they're not afraid to play the longer ball. They're not afraid to put the ball forward quickly, but they can work on counter and they can play. They try and vary their game. I know me and Thomas were open with each other about the modern thoughts on football, and I've got a lot of respect for what they do there. They've just had a pretty tough spell themselves, and we had one. We're coming out of ours, they've come out of theirs, so makes for a good game, and one we want to win for sure. But like I said, they're a good side, and they're showing that again.
Finally, from me, this is a question I didn't think I'd ask, but you went viral over an interview about a Green Day gig. I don't know if you are aware of that.
I am.
And today, the singer, Billy Joe, you probably know more than I do about Green Day, has sent a message congratulating you on your derby win. What do you make of all that?
Well, this is all by accident. I didn't design it. It was an interview scenario about football and music with Jeff, and it was actually a second-hand story from Stuart Pearce, who got me into it and said, "You've got to go and see him." And he told me exactly what I said on the podcast. Yeah, okay, let's go. And he was right. Go and see them. They're terrific. There's others. I mean, I was just recently, I was with the lads from the Blossoms who are great. There's so many. Vaccines just in Young, they're great. I missed so many out in this podcast, but I just happened to mention, along with Foo Fighters and the Kasabian, I just happened to mention that Green Day was one that took me by surprise. And Stuart Pearce told me, he said, it will definitely take you by surprise. I wasn't expecting it to then get picked up by someone who listened to it and then go to the singer and the band and then, what's come next? I mean, the power of social media, I suppose.
You get yourself quite a list there for a Bramley Moor gig.
Well, there'd be a good playlist. There's some good bands there, but there's many others I've seen. I've been very fortunate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. We'll go on to Carl.
Hi, Sean. You said you were allowing the players a window to celebrate. I'm assuming that was quite a small window.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were in today, and they asked me straight over would they be in tomorrow. I said yes, but obviously a light session, a warm-down session, a bit of feedback from the performance. No, I mean, enjoying it in the way, the feel-good factor of it. I thought they earned it as well. It's not like a lucky one. You have to play well against teams like that, and then maybe they felt they had a softer performance, didn't quite play as well, and that's fine. I said sometimes you need that as well. But no, I'd like to think the players earned that one, and they deserved the respect they got, and the feel-good factor from that. My point was it needs parking quickly because the next one's the biggest one. That's the way that I work. It's the way I always have done.
I mean, the game is a results-driven game, but how much is that actual joy of a win? How important is that to the players?
Well, I think that one as much for the players, but as much for the people, as much for the fans. Is my joy is the end of season when we get the work done. The bit in the middle is just the ups and downs of it. My real joy is getting the work done, particularly this season. A lot of challenges for myself as a manager. My own personal part of all of this, and the staff, the players, and the fans in a different way, the club. So that's my joy at the end of the season. But the bit in between is for the fans, it's for the players. I want them to enjoy that. I want them to experience all the highs, and that is a very big high last night. There's no two ways about it for all concerned.
Thanks, Carl. We'll go to Will.
Hi, Sean.
Hey.
When you stayed up last season, you obviously said this is the start now. And there's been progress quite clearly in the points that you've agreed.
I said this is a step.
This is a
Not
step.
a start. I said this is a step. There's lots more steps to go.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What steps do you still think the club?
Oh, there's miles to go. I said in the interview before the game that it's an old thing that I sort of thought about, the truth line of the club. There's got to be a level where everyone gets it, where everyone across the board gets it, all the fans, all the people in the club, everyone. And I still think we're not quite there. I think we're kind of getting towards it, some of the more reality of the club and the finances and where it is, and there's no quick fix at the moment. It has to be built upon. And I think we're kind of getting there. I think the fans are kind of getting, okay, we're learning more about it. I would hope just from me trying to tell them the truth. They said they wanted it. I try and tell them the truth. It's not because I'm trying to be... At the end of last season, I enjoyed that. I wasn't being negative. I was just saying, look, just so everyone knows, this is going to be a work in progress. This is not... There's no fast fix at the moment. You know what I mean? They've tried that down the years. That hasn't worked. Unfortunately, for decisions in the past, there's all these, things that have happened with the points and everything. the learning side of that, and then the rebalancing has to happen. And it's so far happening under my watch, and we're trying the best we can to find all these balances off the pitch, on the pitch, but still go forwards with the team. And it's a big challenge, as you've seen this season, but I think there has been progress, and without the 8 points, where we would be and all the rest of it.
How much off the pitch do you think has changed? Because that's a side that a lot of fans don't see, obviously, here around Finch.
Well, we're trying. I mean, the financial side is well documented in many different formats. We've rebalanced as much as we could. Some of the players that we lost last season, I wouldn't have wanted to, but that was the way it went. Trying to bring in players that work on deals that work for the club, rather than, couldn't just cherry pick players. It was who was out there who would be interested in doing a certain kind of deal to at least give us some strength as a squad. Working with the players we've got and developing, some of the younger players who have come through and doing very nice. I thought Jimmy was another one who did fantastically well last night. He'd had a couple of wobbles, but he's a young man, learning about the game. Jack Harrison was very good, I thought, last night. He's a bit more wise in the Premier League. Jared, quite obviously, a not mention of him. Miko continues to improve. Lots of different combinations of lots of different things. Trying to mould it all together and bring it all in line is a difficult place to be.
You mentioned Jack Harrison. He's come back into the team. Obviously, in the summer, is he a player who you would like to bring back on a permanent basis?
We'll have to worry about that when we get to the summer, because obviously we're still in that flux position of not knowing quite where it is. We're still planning as many things as we can. Myself and Kev, the scouts and the staff, and looking at options and how we could mould things here first, and also what's outside of here. But it is the shifting sands at the moment.
Thanks, Will. Any further questions in the open section before?